I know you did. Good morning, and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos, and hey, he's Bill Rice Jr. And of course, Mike Amos from Great Beach will be calling in on our phones along with Will Matthews and a host of others on our Today in L.A. show. Of course, we're coming to you from our studios on South Brundage Street, of course, Troy Cablevision, Facebooking all across the nation, across the world, and we've got, and everybody's getting ready for high school football. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's got the prettiest helmet up here.
I tell you what,
they all look good.
I tell you what, whoever designed Chapel has got to be a winner. Hold that one up. Now, this thing weighs a ton. Can you believe these kids wear that thing on their helmet? I mean, I bet it weighs 15 pounds, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I bet if I caught it and with my spinning reel, I couldn't reel it in. I really don't believe it could.
The helmets you wore were not this heavy.
No, of course, you got Charles Simpson in the middle. Goshen had a great logo, and that was one of the last things my good buddy did at Goshen was change the logo. And it is a good-looking logo.
What was it before that?
It was the Eagle. Before that, and the Goshen Eagle, and then, of course, the traditional Pike Liberal Arts helmet and a Pike County helmet down at the other end. A guy talked to me, and I talked to him about Pike County's football team.
Right.
Let me just tell you one thing. They will be as well coached as any football team out there. They don't take a jamboree against a 5A school and think that's the end of the world. That jamborees are just a practice. Well, Pike County now is off this week, and I'll guarantee you, Rice, and you and I have sat here and said it before, there'll be a different football team when Coach gets through with them.
Coach Holland.
Yeah, Coach Holland. Yeah, and your buddy that from
Joey.
Yeah, Joey Dennison and. Just not Joey, but his daddy.
Yeah, that's his daddy.
Yeah, daddy. That's right, daddy. And they'll have those guys playing a lot better football, so and playing in their classification too.
Joey, 2 years older than me, and then his brother Ray, who's the band director, was in my class. But yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you got a much bigger school. You got a team that lost several key players. In a jamboree, you shouldn't hit the panic button after that.
I tell you, those helmets look good, man. I like it. I like it. And of course, that Charles Henderson helmet's changed just a little bit, not much. With the new coaches, and they've got a huge game this weekend.
I think you're right. The Zion Chapel helmet really
like pops. A pro, yeah. I like that red face, man.
I like the white, and then I like the red and the black. Good.
Yeah. Hold it up and show it up one more time and show the logo. Show the logo, and that's the logo of the
Eagle. Yeah.
That's right. And I tell you, they're well coached too. Everybody says, "Oh, they didn't win many games," but let me tell you this: not many teams the size of Zion Chapel can play the elbows to some of this world and expect to win. But they'll be competitive, and they'll play hard for their school, and you can get behind them, I guarantee you.
Look at the Patriots helmet. Looks just like the New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
I've been reading a lot about the Patriots because I'm interested in Mac Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
And I'm interested in Cam Newton, too.
Yeah.
They're competing for the starting job, and you know that Mac had a scrimmage against the New York Giants. These teams practiced against other teams for a couple of days.
Yeah,
and they pretty much scrimmaged, and it was live. And Mac Jones, in one scrimmage against the starting defense of the New York Giants, went 35 for 40.
Oh, gosh. Are you serious?
Yes, he hit 18 passes in a row.
Are you serious? When was this scrimmage done?
A couple days ago.
Oh, gosh.
This when Cam was out because he messed up something on the protocols.
Good morning. You're on. Excuse me, I'm being rude. Keep talking.
Hey, guten Morgen.
Okay, keep talking.
So Cam could not practice.
Mike, I want you to hear this.
And Mac Jones got all the reps with the first team, and they're practicing with the New York Giants, and he just lit it up. And
in a scrimmage game, Mike, against the New York Giants, he was 35 out of 40, and hit 18 in a row at one time.
Yeah,
Jones did.
Many touchdowns and.
Mike,
I read that yesterday.
I think he's found a team, but I think they're jumping up and
well,
down.
It's preseason, you don't know, but it makes me feel good because I always thought, I said, man, this Mac Jones is going to be the real deal. He's going to be the best Alabama pro quarterback since Nick Stabler, maybe.
Yeah, Steve, if you're listening, if you could bring me 2 or 3 sheets of plain white sheets of paper, please, if you don't mind. Of course, we got a lot of high school football going on, and so far, I wanted to touch base on the ones that have had to cancel right now. And you know what? They did not even. Little Carol is not going to play this week, and so they're going to wait a week later. I don't know if that would. Thank you so much. Stevie, you doing all right this morning?
Yes, sir.
You got a big weekend ahead of you?
Just going to watch that hurricane come on in.
Is it really a threat? Yeah. How far out is it?
It'll be here Sunday.
Are you serious?
Was it Louisiana?
Well, I didn't realize that thing was that bad. I've been worried. What?
Coming in as Cat 3.
Oh, okay. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, we're on the bad side of it.
Won't you come on up here to Alabama? But you couldn't. That's what you need to do.
You don't have any room in your house left, man.
It is pathetic, ladies and gentlemen. I have had my whole basement has been completely gutted.
And you say gutted. Basement, I guess it is a basement, but it might as well just be a downstairs living area. It's really beautiful. It's a neat area.
It's actually two houses on top of each other.
Yeah, that's right. But and had so far, the last thing to say.
When you have party or entertain, that's where y'all do it.
Well, I'm gonna tell Mike something. The last thing standing is my jukebox. That's the only thing. They took my they did take my casino thing. What do you call it?
Slot machine.
Yeah, the slot machine. But it's just a toy one. But I sure hated to let go of my and so far they have not taken it. Last thing standing in my
base. Set up with all your favorite records.
But items and galore items are go. If I'd had a yard sale, we'd have it for a week. I got that much stuff, but I just went ahead and let them have it.
I have done yard sales and estate sales. And you know what allowed me to do that? You let me borrow some tables from the Troy Alumni Association.
Yeah.
But man, you can make a lot of money with those things. Now,
it'll
kill you, the work involved in it. And so you'll have to rest for 3 days after it. And you'll have to prep for 3 days before it. But if you had one, I'll tell you what, if you ever have one, I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, first in line.
Well, most of it we're giving away to the Salvation Army or different places, and it's a lot. We haven't gotten to the top floor yet, and it's.
The toughest thing is going to be all the memories, all the pictures and stuff of the family and stuff like that.
Can you believe this? This company.
You have to take stuff off the walls, didn't you?
Yeah, everything off the walls too, downstairs so far. Now upstairs, I'm still holding on to some.
You took pictures off the walls.
Oh yeah, I've had taken, but I've kept a lot of them upstairs on the wall so far.
I was able to go into Dad's office downstairs, and I could see every team I ever played on.
That's right. And
pictures of it. And Dad coached most of those things, so that was always fun to look at when you're
the big red.
When you get older.
The lasting memories of the big red threshing machine. If anybody played on that team, call me because it was an outstanding team. I know James Lucas is sitting back there because we really went at it with our teams, Pee-wee teams, and. Well, we had a lot of fun.
James Lucas and Jack Waller against Mike Amos, and they had 10K Pennington. So that was
that should have been fair, should it? Pennington to the right, Pennington to the left.
Basically came down to who had 10K.
But I had a big, fine-looking, blonde-headed boy that knock your head off. You know who that was, don't you?
Richard Calhoun.
Richard Calhoun. But another one that went on and starred at Jeff Davis High School, and I mean he starred up there. It was Jason Rayleigh was a kid that
we lost him to Montgomery, huh?
They lost him. We went up to play for Jeff Davis and was a star player up there in high school. And
in that age, if you got the tailback, you got the win. I mean, it seems like every year you got nobody like Kincaid, but a version of it. When I was growing up, it was my junior high team. It was Kenny Smith was the running back. You just pitched it. I was the quarterback. I just pitched it left. All I did was pitch it left, pitch it right. Run, Kenny, run. It was like run, Forrest, run.
And I tell you what, Daniel Wilson in the first few years of those little teams. Daniel Wilson probably scored 40 touchdowns. When you think, Mike, and he was wide open when he did, wasn't he?
Some of the older people my age will remember this name. He was a year before me, so I missed him because I didn't move to Troy until 7th grade. But I heard stories. Was a guy named Curtis C. Potts. And he was like Kincaid.
Now, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know him.
You don't remember Curtis C. Potts?
No.
No, he averaged about 30 yards a carry in junior high and big league football.
Yeah.
Never played high school football for some reason, but.
Well, the legend, if he had stayed with it, he'd been no telling where he'd be today.
I'll tell you what, I saw him some, and he was like James Brooks. He was fast, but he would run you over too. I mean,
yeah. Well, I had two small quarterbacks, but all they did was win. Jay Corley was one of them, and of course my other one was part of a great group of guys that we had. Of course. Michael, of course, your best.
You had Osagyefo Grubbs, you had Neil Green.
Yeah, Neil Green was my other quarterback. And then Osagyefo Grubbs. How about having a quarterback named Osagyefo Grubbs?
I remember Osagyefo,
yeah.
One of the great families of Troy.
We called him Saj.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder where Osagyefo is now.
Big lawyer up in Montgomery.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this. I spent a lot of time with riding up and down the road in my pickup truck, just jammed full of little kids with shoulder pads on. And I'll tell you the funniest thing in the world. I still these stories of these groups would last you all day. But one of them was. One night we were coming home and we were at a at an intersection. Well, I thought everything was fine until I noticed that one of my kids had jumped out of the truck.
Oh my gosh!
And believe it or not, he runs over and grabs something and comes and jumps back in the truck. And he found a dollar bill just sitting there. A dollar bill. And he was the happiest kid that you ever seen. I was taking him home, and he jumped out of the truck and finds a $1 bill. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. But it's a wonder that we had not had problems because we were, it's just against the law to do that now, isn't it? You can't put kids in the back of a truck.
It's dangerous.
But we had fun.
You got to have your fanny on the floorboard.
Yeah.
I remember about 10 or 15 years ago there was some terrible accident somewhere in Alabama where there was a bunch of kids in the back of a pickup truck that did wreck, and there were several.
But it's something all of us have to be conscious of, and
the hurricane's going to be a Category 3, expected to hit Louisiana with 115 mile per hour wind.
Well, is it going to? Well, let me tell you now. When is it going to hit?
This weekend.
Well, we're talking about our opponent. The next weekend is Southern University.
It might affect them.
Do you think it might affect them?
Yeah. Where is Southern?
Possibly could.
And they're bringing their band. They're bringing their magnificent marching band with them too.
Where is Southern University?
Did y'all talk about
in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Did y'all talk about the quarterback decision?
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about that in length, Mike, because
tell me the headline.
Because I'll tell you this, they're both very good quarterbacks, and I know Coach Lindsey did not have. This was not an easy decision to play. I was actually willing and hoping they might even go with 2 quarterbacks because they're not very different at all. And but it says here, Troy tabs Taylor Powell as the starting lineup, as starting quarterback going into the first game of the season against Southern Mississippi, Southern University, and from Baton Rouge, and that game is scheduled for September the 4th.
So this is the young man that was highly recruited out of Arkansas and played at Missouri for a couple of years and transferred.
I'll give you a credential about him. In high school, he was the Arkansas State Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So you must be pretty good if you were the State of Arkansas's #1 Player of the Year.
You must be.
Yeah, the biggest thing I read about Powell is that Lindsey said that he had the ability to move, and he could get out of the pocket. He was
make something happen. Yeah.
So his legs, I think, were the deciding factor. But you know, I was thinking, I mean, this is Lindsey's really first quarterback he's actually going to be able to develop and bring in on his own. That was his choice. You know, when he got there, Taylor Barker was a Neil Brown former player. So was Gunnar Watson. He was a Neil Brown recruit as well. You know, this is kind of a Jared Stidham situation. You know, Jared Stidham left Baylor, came to Auburn, and Chip Lindsey as offensive coordinator under Stidham in his junior year. He was incredible. I mean, they put up phenomenal numbers. They beat Alabama, played for the SEC championship. So maybe, you know, Chip Lindsey sees something like that in Taylor Powell that, you know, maybe this can finally be his guy, and he can develop him into a winner.
You know, Gunnar Watson was injured most of last year, but he still threw for 2,000 yards, and he's excellent. And stature-wise, he's 6'6" or 6'5.5", and weighs 220 pounds. He's a tremendous-looking athlete, Gunnar Watson. So I'll just say this: Troy will be in good shape if they had to go to the second quarterback, because Gunnar Watson's a pretty good, darn good quarterback in my opinion.
Yeah, you would think Watson will stay on the team. I hope he doesn't transfer out.
But hopefully they transfer. Nobody can transfer out. What's the rule on this? I hope nobody can transfer.
You can always transfer out and just sit out the year if you want.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Well, he's a 6-year player.
Hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully.
I don't think he will.
I would imagine both of them will get.
He's one play from making a play, and one play. How many times did the quarterback get hit?
And then think about it. Seems like, when was the last time Troy went a whole year without the quarterback getting hurt?
And I'm not knocking Troy's decision. Rice and I were talking about it. You know, you got to go with who you believe in, and evidently, they believe that Taylor Powell is the one to go. And I'll tell you one thing about it.
I tell you the guys that never got hurt. Brandon Silvers never got hurt, and Corey Robinson never got hurt. Those guys always played.
That's right. Both of them were 6-year players too. They played at Troy for 6 years, and that was something.
Gray shirt, red shirt, and then they had.
That's right.
Know, I just made a statement that I thought that Mac Jones might end up being the best Alabama pro quarterback in a long time. Well, that's including one Tua Tagovailoa, who is just as good or better than Mac Jones is
right now.
But I think Tua is going to be injury prone. And I guarantee he ain't going to be able to keep playing. And now, knock on wood, but Mac Jones, he took some bad hits, and he always played.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to pick Tua or Mac Jones, which one would you pick?
Good question.
I think I'd take Mac Jones. I don't think Tua's proven a thing yet, has he?
He's doing better with the Dolphins.
Really good games last year, but then he had some really bad games. But I think Shane Daly, as offensive coordinator, kind of limited. You know, I think the playbook might have been too much for Tua to learn. And Shane was kind of an old-fashioned offensive coordinator, didn't really let him throw the ball down the field and take shots like some of these other guys in the league do. They were more, you know, concerned about running the ball and throwing to the tight ends and stuff like that. But I don't think that's Tua's game. I think you'll see a lot better Tua this year, his second year.
He's doing pretty good in the preseason. I do too. I mean, Tua last year, coming off a terrible injury, he had no preseason. think he did about as good as you could expect last year. If he stays healthy, I would expect a lot of improvement in Tua this year too.
Talking again about Troy's new quarterback, and of course Taylor Powell's his name, and he was limited. He played at Missouri, but he did play against Georgia in 2019 and went 10 for 22 for 84 yards. That same year, he completed 6 out of 8 for 57 yards during a home win over Troy. Maybe they noticed him then, and because he's been with them, he's been in their camp since the fall. I mean, the winter.
What class
is
he?
I think he has 2 more years.
He sat out the whole year last year due to COVID.
Yeah.
He got the extra COVID year, and then he had 1 extra year.
So he's got 2 more years.
That he could play. So he's got 2 years. He's already graduated though from Missouri.
Oh God,
he graduated in 3 years.
He'll have his PhD by the time if he wants to play next year too.
Yeah. While see in action, he was 29 out of 62 for 297 yards and a touchdown. And but something I want to read out to you. This is where I think it becomes very interesting. As a high school star, Powell was named the Arkansas Prep Player of the Year as a senior after leading Fayetteville, and that's right there where the University of Arkansas is located, to back state championships 2016 and 2017. He ranks 5th in Arkansas high school history, 2,431 career yards passing. That's pretty good. Pretty good credentials, isn't it? And then Powell had said...
The guy that's got all the records is Mitch Mustaine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I believe he played at Fayetteville, didn't he? I want to say he played for a guy named Malzahn.
He played at Springville for Malzahn.
Quickly tell that story about Malzahn. Rags to riches. This is the quickest way to rags to riches in the history of college football. Tell him, Mike. Tell him, give him an idea.
He was the head coach at Springville, Arkansas, won several state championships.
All right, we're talking about Malzahn. We're talking about Malzahn.
He's one of the first guys to really run the spread.
This is where Malzahn came from. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, run the spread offense in high school and put up huge numbers. And then we got an opportunity to go to Arkansas to be offense coordinator.
But now they were recruiting Mustang, though, Mike. He was recruiting.
Him and Houston kind of falling out. Mustang decided to transfer out and go to USC after going 8-0 as a starter at Arkansas. And then Malzahn went to Tulsa when Graham was there and was offense coordinator and put up, the best offense in the country, I think, a couple years in a row. And then after that, it led to Malzahn going to Auburn. Of course, we all know they won the national championship. Then Malzahn went to Arkansas State.
And I met him then, yeah.
Then Auburn brought him back as a head coach, and then he was at Auburn, and now he's at Central Florida.
And he got a check from $23 million from Auburn. I mean, that is a story that of none other than, and it all started though with Mitch Mustang as his high school quarterback.
Yeah, he followed his player to Arkansas.
That's right.
They wanted his player, and
that is exactly right. He took his coach with him everywhere he went until.
If he had not had Mitch Mustaine, he probably would not have got this opportunity.
That was the story. You could write a book about that.
Philip Rivers, the head coach at St. Michael's, won his first game last night. They down McIntosh 49-0. So Philip Rivers is officially a head coach in high school football in Alabama.
Now that's Alabama he was playing in.
I would think that Coach Rivers is going to do really well.
He's coaching in Mobile.
All right, that's where he's coaching in Mobile, and they beat McIntosh. Okay.
He will be. You talk about high school coaches going to college. Philip Rivers will be a college, if he wants to, will be a college head coach in 5 years.
And Michael, listen to this about him. Michael saw him at a restaurant one night. What was the most imposing thing about him, Mike?
He's 6'7".
First of all, he's 6'7".
Philip Rivers is 6'7".
But let me tell you this: what he had. He said he had a neck that you would not believe how huge his neck was. And I reckon that's the most important thing for a quarterback to have is a strong neck.
Getting back to Arkansas quarterbacks, you know, there's this kid at Arkansas State that is really good, that was a late signee at Alabama and was about 5th or 6th string at Alabama for 1 year. And according to Philip Steele, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So Alabama had this little afterthought quarterback that was holding the clipboard that never played, transfers to Arkansas State, and he's lit it up. Really.
Was that Hatcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he split time with this guy for 2 years, but I think he's actually better than the guy he was splitting time with. But it's his whole show this year. He's playing for Butch. What's the coach that transferred?
Yeah, his name Davis is his last name.
Jones.
Butch Jones. Butch Jones. And you watch Butch Jones, he's gonna probably have a good career at Arkansas State.
Well, he's got a good quarterback to start with.
All right. Hatcher's first start ever was against Troy, and he threw for 440 yards.
Sure did. He's a great coach.
I tell you what, you talking about getting a fan base pumped up. LSU to face University of Southern Cal in Las Vegas to kick off the 2024 season in the Raiders' new indoor stadium in Vegas. You're talking about a crazy trip for fans. That'll be unbelievable. I can't imagine that in 2024.
Who is that? That's LSU and Southern Cal.
USC in Las Vegas to kick off the 2024 season.
Yeah, that's on down the line. Back to Powell. I don't want to get completely off of them because this was a huge decision that Coach Chip had to make, and it said Powell he said during the preseason interviews that Troy's multiple offense was what attracted him to the program. You know, when he transferred to Troy, was the multiple offense. After last Saturday's second scrimmage of the fall, Powell was excited about the progress of his unit. I know that the first scrimmage was we kind of struggled with the operation and everything, but I'm excited about this offense and it can really be special. And Watson started 9 games last season as a sophomore and missed 2 games after being hit hard in the upper body against Georgia State. During that time, 9 starts, Gunnar Watson passed for 237 yards, an average passing game, and he certainly gives Troy a very capable backup. Gunnar had a good fall camp, and it was just a big shootout between those guys, and they ended up picking.
Well, you got to make a decision.
You're right.
Yeah,
they have to make a
I feel like
decision.
Lindsey made a decision due to decision making inside the red zone. Watson made a lot of really poor mistakes with Troy going in to score touchdowns, threw interceptions, fumbled. Didn't convert on 4th down. I mean, I feel like this was the right decision. Watson, of course, was hurt. And, a lot of people don't realize Jacob Freed threw for almost 1,100 yards. Won the Arkansas State game, lost the Georgia Southern game, so he made 2 starts. Then he brought Troy back in the amazing comeback against Coastal Carolina. So, Troy almost kind of had coach starters last year.
Yeah, they did. But I think
Freed is now left in his coach, the high school coach, right?
Yeah, he's at Strong High School, coaching under Silver there.
He could still be playing.
And if he's watching this show, buddy, you gave it all. You're all at Troy, and hey, you folks from Bradley. Hey, he was a good college quarterback, I thought.
Yeah.
And
he's the guy that's real big. He was like 6'6". I think a lot of people like around 6'4".
Oh boy.
6'4". But I feel like this is going to be interesting to see what happens. In that scrimmage that they struggled in, the main reason they struggled was Dylan Bradshaw was a late scratch, the center that's been at Troy for 6 years, and he's the guy that calls all the plays and gives all the offensive linemen, basically tells them who they're supposed to block. And when he's not in that scrimmage, I'm sure the offense did struggle.
Well, he's okay though, isn't he? Bradshaw's okay, isn't he?
He was back for the second scrimmage.
Okay, good. And that second scrimmage was what did it. And, of course, running out of the pocket, making things happen, that's the kind of quarterback Parker is.
Is he a decent runner?
Yeah, he runs. Yeah, he runs well. He runs well. He's not.
Troy has got to have a running game, though. I mean, they looked like world beaters against Middle Tennessee State in that first game last year when they blew them out. And you're like, oh, man, we got 4 or 5 backs. They're incredible. But, man, they were averaging maybe 120 yards a game last year. And you got to average a 175 range at least.
We need a score from the Auburn-Troy soccer game. We need to find out.
I can get that right away.
All right, see if you can get that for me. And Mike Amos.
Chris Amos, my first cousin, your nephew, is probably going to be calling in. He wants
good.
blasting the calls because, I mean, I know a lot of Americans are so upset about what's going on in Afghanistan, and he's a guy that actually, you know, is a soldier and lieutenant colonel and actually was in Afghanistan serving our country. So he's a guy that can tell you a lot about what's going on. So he might call.
Auburn won 2-1. Oh, me. Mike, 2-1. That was a close game. Auburn beat Troy in soccer 2-1. I didn't get to see it, but I was trying to keep up with it through a friend of mine. But the final score was Auburn 2, Troy 1 in soccer. So they went up, played them real well.
Did they play in Auburn? They played
here?
No,
they played here. Yeah, played
Auburn
here.
Played
here, and
I hope they had a good crowd.
I don't know about the crowd, but we'll find out. Auburn's still undefeated. Okay. And I think that was Troy's first.
Yeah, Auburn was ranked number 14.
14, and we played them that good. We scared them to death, did we?
I couldn't go see it because I was at soccer practice for me.
Yeah, I know, that's what it is. There's always something going on in this town, isn't that right?
You're talking about the Pee-wee teams you used to coach. They don't have them anymore, Mike. They're all playing soccer.
Well, I'll tell you this, how involved I got. Before the game, a cheerleader would come out and do cartwheels for 50 yards. Cartwheels for 50 yards.
Wow.
And then followed by about 20 more cheerleaders, and the other team had the same thing. It was total involvement. You had your football team, you had your pee-wee team, you had the other little group, and but it was something that these kids could remember for a lifetime. They still talk about these games,
Christy Griffin, doing all the flips coming out, and then Stacey Beard did it after her.
Yeah. Hey, something that people can look forward to. Troy University plays host to Ole Miss in volleyball. Now, if you want to see a first-class volleyball game, let me tell you something, Mike. They've got a new thing that goes with volleyball. Troy had purchased I think it cost them $150,000, a flooring, specialized flooring that you put out over the basketball coach, and it would be a volleyball court, and it's foam rubber. It's just wonderful. You're able to kick, jump much better and so forth. But it is first class, and Troy University has gone out and purchased one. So we're along with about 15 or 20 other volleyball.
The volleyball matches are at Trojan Arena.
That's right, at Trojan Arena. It's wonderful. And this is Ole Miss now. Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, going up against our own Troy Trojans tonight from the Trojan Arena. Yeah.
Well, we got the rodeo too.
All right, and I want to tell you this now. On Monday, we have another volleyball game. This time against UAB. So volleyball is getting
soccer, volleyball.
That's right.
We got the rodeo Friday and Saturday.
The rodeo and
Henderson versus Montgomery Catholic.
Yeah, you got a big football game between Charles Henderson High School of Troy and Catholic High School of Montgomery. We'll be talking more about that and give you our predictions in a few more minutes. But also
Right, you'll think this is interesting. Troy's soccer team has one player from Alabama, and you would not believe how many players are from other countries.
Is it like tennis? About everybody?
I know they have really recruited a lot of them.
They've got a player from Canada.
This is Canada. Wait a minute, before you begin, is this for soccer or soccer? Okay.
Yeah, women's soccer. Yeah, they got a player from Canada, Montreal, Canada, Frankfurt, Germany. They got one from Sussex, England. Another one from Germany. player from Ontario, Canada, another player from Somerset, England. Let's see, another player from Sweden.
Oh, boy.
And a player from the Netherlands who was transferred from Kentucky. And then they've got another player from Ontario, Canada, another player from Blainville, Quebec, Canada, another player from Iceland.
Oh, my God.
This is crazy.
Another player from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We've got one player from the state of Alabama. Her name is Kate Eubanks, senior from Mobile, Alabama, from McGill Schooling Chapel.
Oh, boy. Can you believe that? This is the worldwide network.
That's
the
the United Nations.
Troy University. And I tell you what.
How would you like to be able to recruit those players?
Yeah.
Overseas?
But now our coach was from he was from Scotland, I think. Our coach is, but
They
he's no
must
longer
have-
with us. He's no longer with us. But he coached.
They have networks, and the same must be with the tennis players, because
yeah.
they're all from other countries too.
And the volleyball players are from all over the United States, and they are very good too. And I tell you, this is a big game between Troy and Southern Miss. I mean, not Southern Miss, but Ole Miss tonight from the Trojan Arena. And now, right there next to them, we got Charles Henderson playing host to Catholic High School of Montgomery, a real good team. So look forward to that.
You know,
and I was trying to figure out how can I get between both of them. I'll have to run back and forth.
and the rodeo. I mean, we're trying, at our house it's just tough because the kids want to go to the rodeo. We're going.
You are going good.
But my wife's a teacher at Charles Henderson, so she's got to go support her kids, you know, at the Charles Henderson Catholic game.
Okay, now where's your birthday crowd going to be?
They're doing that tomorrow.
All right.
They're going to what's Johnny Williams' brothers?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Kids places.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, there's one in Dothan, and Maggie and her friends are having a spend night party, and they're going to this place in Dothan.
But now, how do you bust them down there?
Well, Mama's going to take them down there.
Gonna be, how many kids are they?
Just two, and then Maggie.
Okay. Okay, good.
And
Good.
they're going to spend the night.
Yeah, the place down here is Dame and Buster's down in Panama City.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Big place.
And of course, that's a lot of fun.
You know, Troy, for the first time in how many years did you say Rice doesn't have a movie theater?
100. And the Princess Theater, per my researcher memory, you know where Cinco's Drug is?
Yeah.
That was originally, believe it or not, a movie theater. It would have been silent movies. Mr. Mall, I have read, that was the famous band director, once played the piano at the silent movies.
I've heard that, yeah.
So I know Troy had a movie theater in the 20s when probably Johnny McBrown was a silent movie Western star. So you go forward to 2020, so I know that Troy and Pike County has had a movie theater for 100 years, but we do not right now.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. It's 7:40 on your dial, and 7:40 the time. And of course, we're going to be giving you scores, our prediction of what college games are out there, and also some of the local high schools. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Coach Scott Cross, head coach of your Troy University Trojans basketball team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal, nobody.
Have you been in the house way too long? Are you looking for great family fun? Do you want to get outside and try something new and adventurous? Then look at Butter and Egg Adventures in Troy, Alabama. Ages 5 and up can enjoy zip lines, climbing wall, aerial courses, outdoor laser tag, axe throwing, canoeing, pedal boating, and more. 2 or more people can make a reservation by calling 334-670-9954.
For those teachers out there, get your kids outside by bringing them to Butter and Egg Adventures in Troy, Alabama for a great field trip.
When Mitchell Nissan assembled the More Force to help the car buyers of Enterprise, we looked for the most powerful people to avenge the average deal. Like Twan kicking those high prices to the curb, and Truth bringing honest savings to the Wiregrass. Then I add our Customer Advantage package to every new purchase at no extra charge. Together, Mitchell Nissan is the More Force. More, it's what we do.
Hey Troy fans, this is Coach Josh Lauer, head coach for your Troy University volleyball team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal, nobody.
Did you do that?
Listen.
There he is, there he is.
All right.
Mike, you're on now. Hello. All right, then we got Chris Amos on. Christopher.
Now we got Mike Amos, we got Michael Amos, and we got Chris Amos.
And actually, Major Chris Amos, is that right?
He's actually a lieutenant colonel now.
And you don't call him lieutenant colonel, you call him colonel. So it's Colonel.
That's right, Colonel Chris Amos, and of course, now you're still full-time Army, is that right?
That's right. I work at the Joint Force Headquarters in Montgomery.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you can't talk about, but at the same time, can you talk to us about what's going on right now?
In Afghanistan.
I'll answer any questions you have, or however you want to go at it. Now,
all right. I was going to do the predictions, but we'll wait till later.
How many tours did you have in Afghanistan, Chris?
I only did one in 13 and 14.
Okay.
And we were part of the what's called the CENTCOM material retrograde element, which is part of the drawdown, even back as far back as 2012, 2013. So that right there tells you we've been trying to get out of Afghanistan for a while now, and at that time I think we had the proper withdrawal protocols and plan in place, and it's just unfortunate to see that. The events of this week and even the week before that's led to it's an unfortunate set of circumstances right now. And of course, the families, the Marines that have received a tough call this week over something we probably knew was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, but now what's bothering me?
Where did we go wrong here? I mean, should we have gotten all our weapons and helicopters and destroyed all that and or had all that brought back? I mean, why were we so unprepared? I mean, I know Biden is the president, so he's making the calls, but I mean, he had to give advice from some pretty major military people when it came to this.
Oh, I'm sure he was. I think the media does a good job of spinning that, depending on which network you're talking about, Michael. The equipment that's left back that people are up in arms about being left over there. It's not necessarily been left over there. It was actually signed over to the Afghan National Army, the ANA, the people that we've been training for the past 20 years. We've trained pilots, we've trained mechanics, we've trained all kind of people to work these vehicles and aircraft in order for them to protect themselves when we left the country. And that's what has happened, is that those people just have not had the intestinal fortitude or the resources or the loyalty to the country of Afghanistan as a whole to protect and defend. So
what scares me now, does this mean that the Taliban now has an air force or what?
I wouldn't classify it as that, Mike. I would classify it as simply now they having access but not the ability to use certain pieces of equipment, to include aircraft, vehicles. I'm sure they can drive a vehicle if they wanted to. But, a lot of this stuff was entrusted to the Afghan Army, and that is where we highly underestimated the Afghan Army, but also overestimated the Afghan Army, but underestimated the momentum that the Taliban would take when they started taking over the country, which began in the rural areas. Afghanistan is probably the most austere environment, mountainous, sand, desert country that you've ever seen in the entire world. It's very hard for the average American to even fathom just the environment in Afghanistan.
Answer this if you can.
70% rural population.
I've heard this a long time, but and I'm sure I could have mistood them at the same time. But one of the things America and everybody that's had to fight the Taliban is their helicopters would go to the area where they had an encampment, and they'd be back in those caves and everything. But they said once once the helicopter got in front of one of the caves, heck, they'd blow him up because it was so strategic. I mean, they would be trying to get it in place, and then doggone, then get shot down. They had a hard time, didn't they?
The fact that they talk about how no country's ever been able to conquer
That's right.
And conquer is probably a bad choice of words, but to maintain control over the country of Afghanistan simply because of the terrain.
Yeah.
It's extremely high mountainous, extremely high altitude type of environments there that those people have been living in for hundreds of years. They still have weapons that they get through the illegal channels. They've got weapons that they had ever since the Russians were there. Yeah. And those RPGs that you're talking about that probably were used to take down those helicopters and so forth, and those hostage rescue or
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it was down. That's when that happened.
Boy, I tell you, so it's so strategic.
Well, that's the impression I have, is that it's just you can't picture it. It's huge mountains, desolate, lots of places to hide.
Yeah, that's the best wording I've heard. Is they've got lots of places to hide.
There has been country after country that's tried to occupy Afghanistan. I mean, I think Great Britain did it at one time, Russia did it at one time, America's done it.
And here's the thing too, Bill. I think a lot of people misunderstand because we sit in our living rooms here in America, or we read the news, or watch the news, or we have our own interpretation of what we would do in that type of situation. Whereas in Afghanistan, I think a lot of people misunderstand that there's really nobody that stands up for the country of Afghanistan like our forefathers did in 1776, for their independence. There is no one fighting for the country of Afghanistan because there are so many factions. And Biden mentioned this in the news conference yesterday about there are so many layers and just sects and just imagine someone not fighting for Alabama or not fighting for America, but fighting for Crow Hill.
Yeah. Good analogy.
That's the analogy I give you. They fight for their neighbors, their families, and they could care less about the country of Afghanistan because there's so many people, so many different types of religion, Baptist, Methodist, Catholics. It's like that type of division.
Yeah.
But is that what ISIS is? Is ISIS?
Yeah, ISIS.
They're part of the Taliban.
Exactly. War is a livelihood over there, guys, and it's just not going to change anytime soon. Just because there's no. By now, I think we would have already helped them, which we've been doing for the past 20 years. This nation-building thing we've had to jump into just by default. You can't grow anything in Afghanistan other than opium. You can't grow, crops like you see in cotton or corn, things you see in the heartlands here.
It's the largest opium rain in the country, in the world. I mean,
which makes heroin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that heroin ended up in the streets of America.
The moral, I guess, decision to help someone, not necessarily keep growing opium, but keep trying to become diverse as we've been trying to help these people become more economically independent, or just to develop some other way of improving their livelihood and their families, potential to survive.
Let me ask you this.
Do you think this is going to get worse before it gets better? It seems that way.
I think what we found, Michael, is that there are more people in Afghanistan that want to leave than want to stay. And that's probably in the thousands. And there's people that, would leave Afghanistan right now if they had an opportunity to. And I think that's what's driving the masses in a lot of ways, in addition to the number of people that were over there undocumented. I think you see the Biden administration talking about that in these news conferences about, I'm thinking that if they could speak frankly, they're just like, where'd all these people come from?
All of them didn't register when they got here, isn't that right? Very few of them.
We're very aware of all the, I won't say missionaries, but the non-government, the NGOs, the contractors and stuff. We're aware of them because they're over there supporting some part of the Department of Defense, DOD. But there's so many other people like this school in California I heard about yesterday that were over there They're stranded now. Did y'all hear about that?
No.
Yeah, look that up when you get a chance. I don't know enough to talk about it, intelligently, but there's a class of kids over there from California, a school in California, that are over there that are now stranded because they went over there on, I don't think it would classify as a mission trip, but some type of humanitarian or type of trip.
Well, don't you feel like we're obligated to Americans first as far as the...
Absolutely. And those that have helped us in the meantime. There are thousands of people that served as interpreters, good-hearted people that believe in the true potential for a country like Afghanistan. And they're the ones that I think we've done probably a half-hearted job of getting them out in a
I worry about those people too, Michael. Their life's at risk, isn't it? I mean, if they were perceived as collaborating with the enemy, their life is at risk.
This has been one of the largest probably the largest movement of people in the history of the world, don't you think? What's happened here as far as the evacuation?
Go down, and only history will tell because we're just starting in this thing here. I think we're going to have to. I think the next week the main talking point is going to be extending the withdrawal timeline. And I think that's going to be a big topic of discussion and issue with the Taliban next week. I think they're going to perceive themselves to be holding some leverage, but I think in the end, I think they'll allow us to get everybody out.
I hate to use these words, but like in a fist fight, we're really a much better armed forces than they are. But like you said, you'd have to go inside every house looking for them, probably.
Well, the thing is, too, Mike, they don't necessarily fight for one side on this thing. They fight for whoever can provide security, income, or resources to live the next week.
Yeah.
And if that means fighting for the Taliban this week, and when the Americans are around, fighting for the ANA, that's very common. I mean, I guess that goes back to the fact that there's nobody that has allegiance to Afghanistan. It's almost 180 degrees compared to what we think of, fighting for, ideals, and if they've got all those type of ideals, but they have no.
We have
no intestinal fortitude to do it. Much less
the scariest thing though is they're their own bombs. They're all suicide bombers.
Right now,
and that is another conversation that could last another 30 minutes as far as why. That they feel that they have to do that type of thing. They're intimidated. There's a lot of things that they do follow through on. I mean, if there's one thing that I won't say most, but some terrorist groups will do is they will follow through on someone performing as a martyr.
Yeah.
They will take care of a generation of a family that performed for that, even if they didn't start out on their side.
Yeah.
They are very loyal to that type of thing, and I'm sure there's some cases where they totally have walked back a decision to help someone who did that. But it's just a crazy thing, guys. And
Well, how far do you think it'll go? Do you think we'll end up actually having another war over this thing, or do you think we'll get out and stay gone, or what?
I don't think there's any value in that, Mike. I think there's just value right now for this administration to do everything they can to get everybody that wants to get out. And I think that category will continue to grow, and I think that it'll continue along the lines it is right now until everybody's out. And I think they'll finally just.
So you don't think this will? The word is escalation. You don't think it'll be exclamation?
I think there will be some more terrorist attacks. I think it's kind of naive to think that there won't be, because I think there's a huge target of opportunity to create some chaos or to stay in the news. I think. I would hesitate to say that terrorist organizations probably receive the most sympathy and funding, so to speak, when they're in the news.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that up until now, or up until recently, that the thing going on in Afghanistan is probably just in a low headline for quite some time.
Another thing, another thing is the political part. You know, you can see them going at it. You know, everybody every day. It's a political thing too, isn't it?
It is. They were going at it regardless. It didn't matter if this started back or not.
Boy, you know, these talk shows, man, they just love it, don't you? Don't you think? No, that old boy just loves it. I used to like that guy. I got where I can't stand it here.
You talking about Sean Hannity?
No, not Hannity.
Tucker?
Tucker. I got where I don't even want to look at
What's
Tucker.
Tucker's take on this?
I haven't really watched. I've never really watched Tucker. I listen to him, the blurbs, but.
Well, you either watch the CNN channel or the other channel.
I mean, basically, the United States. I mean, I guess they just got to get control of the airport.
That's
They
right.
got to get the perimeter back, where they control it.
That's where the struggle is. I mean, that's where there's thousands and thousands of people that are now coming out of the.
Have you been to that airport before?
I have.
They had a lot of lanes at one time, didn't they? They just have one lane now, don't they?
You know, I think if there's one thing they could do over again, I think they would probably work to maintain control of each major airport there. That would be Kandahar, Bagram, and Kabul. And those, if they could do it over again, they would maintain control of those three airports much better than they have before. You know. Before, and it would be probably better circumstances because they would be able to facilitate much more throughput.
Let me ask you this one more question from me. How would we be a lot better off if it wasn't for the politics? If we didn't have politics to worry about, would it have been much easier to get these people out?
Well, I think war is a form of politics in a lot of ways. There's a guy named Clausewitz that you can look up that talks a lot about that, about as far as war being a instrument of politics, a political instrument. I think it's just human nature in a lot of ways as far as how we'll go from this to another situation in order to fight the good fight. But unfortunately, in a place like Afghanistan, it's not like places that we've been in the past, like Korea. You know, I see all the talking points about, hey, wow, we're still in Korea since the Korean War was 60 years ago or 70 years ago. We're still in Germany. We're still in Europe. All those places are what we would probably refer to as civilized or civilization.
Yeah.
Let's say this: we don't have a lot of W's. We need more W's in our world. We don't have enough W's out there. The only W you got is World War II, probably, wouldn't you say?
You know what the W in Afghanistan would have been? Don't go to Afghanistan, or do what you did in the first year and then accomplish your mission, but don't go into this nation building, occupying, and what they call Afghanistan. The graveyard of empires.
You know what Russia said? Y'all come on in. We're tired of getting our butt kicked.
It's like Burr Rabbit, in that briar patch.
How many soldiers were originally there in Afghanistan? I mean, was there 20, 30,000?
No, I think at one time there was probably 75,000. I don't really know exactly. Don't hold me to that, Michael. But exponentially more because obviously we had those three major bases I talked about, Kabul, Bagram, Kandahar, but we had at least 20 small bases throughout the rest of the country as well because we had gotten kind of sucked into the counterinsurgency fight, the nation building. They're trying to teach them how to build themselves back, how to stay away from the terrors of terrorism. And it just didn't stick. That's another reason why it's not comparable to the things we did in World War II and the Korean War afterwards.
And don't you know, Russia was a proud bunch of folks. They didn't like getting kicked like that, but they finally got tired of it and they got out of there.
They cut their losses.
And they found a bunch of Americans out there that wanted to take over,
And those are the people. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say those people like the Russians and the Chinese governments, they're sitting back and just waiting to to take advantage of it in some form or fashion, because we had kind of transitioned out of that situation in Afghanistan and Iraq, and now we're trying to get back into what we call multi-domain operations and large-scale combat operations, as far as the European theaters and the things that are going on now with Russia and China. They're kind of laughing at all this, going, wow,
I've made the same
distraction to keep their eye off the ball.
I've been making the same point that, the national defense is great, but keep your eye on the people that could actually defeat your nation. And it's not Afghanistan, it's not Iraq, and that we're just spreading ourselves so thin and spending so much treasure and on these things that really have nothing to do with our national security, in my opinion.
All right, Chris, I so appreciate you coming on our show and adding a lot of input to the things that are going on over there. I hope that I can call you again and talk to you.
Hey, just let me know. I'll call anytime, guys.
All right, listen, we got to, you know how important high school football is. I got to get some scores over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Y'all be good.
Bye-bye.
All right, Chris.
See you, Chris.
All right, let's go from here. We'll go from here. We got to move pretty quick. I've got one. You fall against Central of Phoenix City. That ought to be a pretty good game in high school.
I'm going to say that Central of Phoenix City, as good as Eufaula is, has probably more athletes, and they got Coach Nix, and they're playing at home, so in a close game, Central of Phoenix City.
This ought to be a good one for young Tucker, the new head coach at Dale County. They're playing Daleville. I just wanted to throw that in because Tucker is a bright young coach, isn't he?
Yeah, you got Will Gardner, too, who was at Charles Henderson.
Yeah.
Luke Tucker's, Walden Tucker's son. I'm going to go with Luke Tucker in Dale County. I'll take Eufaula to beat Central for Phoenix City. I think Rigby's got his best team.
Oh no, I can't do it. I'm going to take Central. They're playing at Central this year. You know about those officials. Okay.
In high school football, who your officials are sometimes is important.
Yeah. And Opp at Elba, and that's always a tough one. And Opp is considered to have a very good team this year. I'm going to take Opp.
Coach
They got Mike DeBose as the head coach.
Yeah, that's right, Mike DeBose. Yeah.
I'll take Opp.
I'll take Opp.
Okay, how about Goshen at Arrington? That's going to be a good one. Goshen at Arrington.
Well, I'm not going to be able to live in Pike County and go see my friends if I don't pick Goshen. So
I hate to say it, Arrington, the Purple Cats are awfully good. I'm going to take the Purple Cats.
Arrington is almost like a part of Pike County, and we got a lot of friends, and it's not far away.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
Yeah,
right.
Arrington's going to, they still have Stephen Philpriest as their coach. I know Chuck's not coaching down there as defense coordinator, and Chuck's a really good coach. But
I saw him the other day, Mike. He looked good.
I'll take Arrington.
Okay. All right, Rice, who did you take?
Well, I just took Goshen because I was going with the home county team, but probably Arrington has a better football team.
I'll tell you this, Zion Chapel, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of this game. Zion Chapel at Kinston. I'm going to take Zion. My buddy has really built this program at Zion Chapel, so I'm going to take them.
They got the best helmet.
They got the number one helmet they're wearing. You're right.
We voted the Zion Chapel helmet the best one.
For 1A school,
yeah.
I'll take Zion.
Of course, that's going to be a good one, too. We're taking a look at some of the local games. Now, Luverne and Brantley have been postponed.
I hope they reschedule.
Pike County is off, and GW Long is off. And now it says Barber County at Russell County, and it's been canceled. So,
Barber County just got their first win in about 100 games. Did you hear about that?
What now?
Barber County.
Was it a forfeit?
It was a forfeit. But they had lost some amazing amount of games in a row, like more than 80, I believe.
All right, a big game here. Big game here. Montgomery Catholic going to Charles Henderson of Troy. How about it? Who do you like, Mike?
it seems like Montgomery Catholic's got too much talent. They got 2 guys or maybe 3 guys that are big-time Division I prospects, and then they beat Charles Henderson last year. I do think Charles Henderson's got some confidence, though, after what they did against Pike County.
You're exactly right.
Young, but Charles Henderson had speed, and I think they'll be able to play a close game, but I think they'll lose to Montgomery Catholic.
Montgomery Catholic is loaded, but I'm going to take Charles Henderson in that game. What do you do?
Yeah, Coach Hambright's got everybody feeling good. He's got some good talent, young talent, but very good talent. In an upset, the Charles Henderson Trojans. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. I wore it.
Okay, Zach, we're wearing orange today. All right, I'll take Charles Henderson. Michael, you took the other side. Is that right?
I took Catholic.
All right, let me mention this real quickly.
The Catholic beat Charles Henderson last year.
Yeah. Live on cable TV is going to pit Carver and Montgomery at Enterprise. I'll take the Wildcats. What do you think?
I think Enterprise is ascending. Their stock is soaring in all their sports and their school system. So I'm real bullish on Enterprise in all sports. And I know their basketball team was good, and I think their football team's coming back. Their band's great, et cetera, et cetera. They got it going on in Enterprise.
Carver will have a lot of talent, but I think Enterprise will do it.
Okay, another big game in the area is Park Crossing, traveling all the way through Troy down to Dothan, over 100 miles back and forth. Park Crossing, coached by Dothan. Now this is Grider's old team. Dothan is. Ryder used to coach at Park Crossing.
He started the Park Crossing program, and he started the new Dothan High School program.
Exactly.
I like Dothan.
Okay, Rice. You don't know much about them, do you?
No, I saw Park Crossing got blown out last week, so they must have something. And then they've had some good players that transferred. So based on those 2 little nuggets of intelligence, I'm going with Dothan.
We've already told you that Pike Liberal Arts and Crenshaw Christian have canceled. And because of the COVID, and Chambers Academy at Abbeville Christian is also been canceled, and Lakeside School is off. I don't know if they were canceled or not, but that was something I wanted us to look at. But
we had Thursday night scores last night. I was looking down some local scores that were kind of surprising to me. Providence Christian beat Northside Methodist 49-30.
Providence won.
This is a game that surprised me. This has to be an upset. Valiant Cross 18, Macon East 17.
Oh boy, hey, they must have recruited some people. Valiant Cross.
Wow.
Also another Providence school score that surprised me: Sparta Academy 30, Monroe Academy 20. And then
Sparta beat, you know who, all right, first of all, though, you know who the former assistant coach at Charles Henderson, the head coach at Sparta.
Really?
Yeah. And, he was at Pike Liberal Arts for a while.
You're talking about Hudson.
Hudson is the coach of that Sparta team.
Monroe was always good.
He went to Charles Henderson, though. He was a Pike.
I know that. I'm sorry, he was at Pike Liberal Arts. You're right.
Monroe has a great tradition.
Still Creek won big at Strong. Strong won 38-2 over Red Level.
Okay, so Strong wins. Okay. All right, that's good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at some college scores and
college games.
Some college games.
We got plenty of time because there's not many to pick.
Oh, I know it, but I'd like to talk about some of them. We're going to get our first start tonight as UConn plays. What is this? Fresno State?
Is this in basketball or football?
I'm talking about football. Okay. I've got football scores up from.
They'll play tomorrow.
Yeah. And we'll play tomorrow, but now.
UConn versus who? Fresno?
Now, who are they?
The first game you have is Nebraska against Illinois. Nebraska's a 6.5-point favorite at Illinois. The game will be on Fox at 11 o'clock Saturday morning.
Nebraska 6.5. Are they playing at Nebraska? You said.
No, at Illinois.
Oh, at Illinois. Oh, man.
That's at Champaign? Is that where that is? No, I want to ask Mike this question. Have you been to the University of Illinois football stadium? I bet you haven't.
I have, yes, sir. I have. I have, yeah.
No,
it's
you
got,
haven't.
yes, sir. The cornfields all around it.
Illinois?
Yeah, that stadium.
You've been in Nebraska.
No, but the same way at Illinois. Just drove right through there, and we saw the stadium. Went on a trip with Johnny Williams. Took us through there and all the way up to northern Michigan.
So you haven't been to a game, but you've been driven through there.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been to a game, but I've driven through there, yeah. Okay.
So there's more to Illinois than just Chicago, Illinois, is what you're saying.
You know, still, when you look at this team, Nebraska and Illinois, you got to think Nebraska is going to win that game, anytime. But I think they're about as dead even as you can get it. I'm going to take Nebraska and the 6.5 points, and give them the 6.5.
Surely Nebraska is going to, at some point, go back to Nebraska. This is Nebraska. Right. I mean, they were the bluest of the blue bloods, besides a couple of programs in college football for 80 years. But the last, 10, 20, they have been mediocre at best. They got the coach they wanted. I don't know.
All right. Well, let me ask this.
But
Mike,
no, I'm with you. Nebraska's got to eventually get back to being pretty good. So surely they can. If they can't beat Illinois, they're in trouble.
One thing about Brett Bielema, though, he usually can develop offensive linemen. If he has any kind of running game, this could be close. But I'll take Nebraska, but I think it'll be a close game.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be dull if Bielema's got anything to do with it. All he cares about is 3 yards and dust. What do you call it?
Cloud of dust.
Cloud of dust. Okay. All right.
That's what Pat Donna's philosophy was.
Yeah, exactly. But the other games are Eastern Illinois is at Indiana State. UConn is playing at somebody, Fresno.
Here, I've got them all in front of me. You got UConn against Fresno State. This game will be at 1 o'clock.
Fresno's going to kill them.
Fresno State's a 28-point favorite.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So Fresno, California is flying all the way across the country to Connecticut?
Yeah.
To play a football game?
UConn's
for going to their place. And what did you say the line was? 28 points?
27 and a half.
Oh, okay.
Now, keep in mind, UConn did not play football last year.
Yeah, I know it.
It's their first time playing football in forever.
Yeah.
Well, good for those kids.
All right. All right. What's the other one? Temple at New Mexico State?
No, you got UTEP against the Mexico State.
All right.
Have you been to Fresno State?
I've been to Fresno. Wait a minute. Fresno? No, I haven't been to Fresno.
Where is Fresno? Isn't it near San Francisco somewhere?
Well, I have. Let's see now. I haven't been to Fresno State.
Fresno's in the Silicon Valley.
I've been to the Silicon Valley.
San Jose State.
Yeah, San Jose State. I've been there in a giant rainstorm and wooden bleachers. That was the worst college stadium I think I've ever been to, Mike.
The next best game is Hawaii against UCLA. UCLA will be playing at home in Los Angeles. They're a 17.5-point favorite. I like UCLA big.
You do?
Over Hawaii, now you know they're going to score a lot. Hawaii's going to score, Mike.
Yeah, but Hawaii's a lot different team when they're off the island.
All right, you guys out there, you gurus out there, he just told you a secret.
That is true, though. I picked up on that. UCLA has Chip Kelly as their coach, who was the hot coach for 5 or 6 years at Oregon. And man, you talk about going from the penthouse to the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, his stock has dropped greatly. But I've looked at UCLA. They're about a 500 team last year. I always look at, were they in the game? Did they have a chance to win? And UCLA was. They lost a lot of close games. They were competitive, in other words. Kind of like Troy University that lost several games they could have won. So when I see teams like that, I say their luck is going to change. And I mean, if you had bad luck the year before and lost a lot of close games, you're probably going to win some close games the next year. Is that too much analysis? So
yeah, real elaborate.
UCLA's biggest problem in this game is getting ready for LSU the next week.
You know, Mike, I've looked for that game that y'all are talking about all over my deal here, and I can't find UCLA playing.
Well, I was trying to expand my analysis because I knew that was about the last game of interest.
All right, now the other game is on Wednesday night next week, and it's got.
He got another game, but I mean it's 1AA against a Division I. You got Southern Utah against San Jose State.
Yeah.
Well, y'all don't know. I got a lot to talk about. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Want to mention, of course, Jacksonville State and UAB play on Wednesday night from Crampton Bowl in Montgomery. UAB, of course, we won't have a line on it because Jacksonville State is a 1AA team.
Sometimes you can get a line on those.
We haven't seen one yet, but I would probably take UAB. But
what do you think the line would be if there was one?
Probably 13 points, something like that.
Oh. I would say it'd be high teens, around 18, 19.
Well, gosh, I don't know. Jackson State is known to play these teams tough. So I'll tell you this: the Marching Southerners will be there, and the UAB band will be there. For you band people, you get to watch those beautiful ballerinas.
Didn't somebody tell us that Jack State's band had 500 people?
Last year, they marched over 500 kids in their band. If they'd come, if I was Troy, I'd let 500 come. That'd get 500 more students, don't you think?
Gosh, yes.
And I think it's a moneymaker. They need Troy needs to tell them let as many kids that'll perform will perform. Troy, they say, will march, and they'll do it Saturday night against Southern University. But they're going to march a little over 300, which is a big band, and then the big band from and that's why I'm worried about the weather, but Southern's band's bigger than that. It's probably about 300 or 400 band members. So they have a great band. So we'll look forward to that. Of course, next week we're going to do a full slate of college and high school.
I'm curious to see how many of the Jack State fans and UAB fans go to Montgomery, which is not a long drive. And what the attendance is going to be.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jacksonville State people have to be excited because they're going to be on national TV. This is the first ESPN game of the year. They're on national TV against UAB. UAB is the one that I would question how many. I'll tell you this. I'll say this. I think Jacksonville will have 5,000 people there.
I will say that Jacksonville State will have more fans at that game than UAB.
UAB, yeah.
The 1AA team
and their traditional football team, and I'm sure they're excited.
I'm skeptical of UAB as this hot, aspiring team, and they got the fancy new stadium. I just remember games they played in Troy when there were 400 fans that came down from Birmingham. And
but that was the Watson Brown days, right?
Yeah, but it's getting better now.
I know it's picked up.
Clark has changed the whole community when it comes to UAB, and then UAB's got, 25,000 students?
Yeah, at least, yeah. So about a half of my doctors now,
And the excitement of the new stadium. You got the Uptown area where the Sheridan is. You got all these bars and restaurants right next to the stadium. You got Top Golf. I mean, it's just going to be. I mean, if they don't average 30,000 a game, I'll be shocked.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. At home, for all the reasons you said, they're going to do really good. But will they travel? Is there enough interest to travel an hour and a half? I don't think so.
Well, the COVID issue will be, something, in these first few games. I'll be interested to see what crowds look like.
Mike, looking ahead, I was just something that jumped all over me about a game that I thought was going to be a big game.
Well, we've never picked the winner on the UAB.
I did.
We can do that next week.
No, we can't. Well, we
need some games to go ahead and pick.
It's Wednesday.
UAB will win.
It's actually on Wednesday. You're right.
Here's some analysis. UAB.
Yeah.
I'll say that UAB has got a 3-year starter come back at quarterback, and then their backup quarterback I thought was better than him, and then they've got some really, really good skill players, receivers and running backs. I mean, I think they'll just have too many athletes. I think they'll be back there.
And they got a lot of their defense back. Although they lost the defensive lineman to Auburn, that's supposed to be pretty good. But yeah, UAB, I think UAB is going to be favored in every game except the Georgia game.
I think I've got them going 10 and 11 and 1. 11 and 1, yeah.
I mean, if you go look at UAB's practice facilities now, you know, they got that indoor-outdoor practice facility that's just unbelievable.
Why didn't they? Everybody's asking me though. Why didn't they finish the wall there? Why did they have an open?
South Alabama's got the same thing. It's like an open air, but you've got a roof where you can still practice.
Yeah.
With rain and stuff like that.
Troy didn't have anywhere they could go. That's right.
Yeah, their facilities are so much nicer. I mean, you're talking about a 100-yard field that's covered now in downtown Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at.
But I mean, the University of Alabama controls UAB. The Board of Trustees. I mean, they're letting this happen. And that just tells you how powerful the University of Alabama is in football. They have, you know, no concern whatsoever of what UAB does in athletics. It doesn't look like.
Well, there was such a backlog. I mean, they did try to shut it down, and you saw the huge backlog against that, and so now they are just leaving them alone.
I wanted to.
Chattanooga is UT Chattanooga, University of Tennessee Chattanooga, and the Board of Trustees of Tennessee has never let Chattanooga grow into Division I football.
Yep, that's a good point. And they could probably be really good, don't you think? They have
and Chattanooga is one of the up and growing, you know, tech, one of the nicest places I've been in years as far as a big city. I mean, there's so much that place offers. It's incredible.
You know, they ought to go Division I, and you know, the Sun Belt needs to get them. That would be a great addition.
I've said that. That would be incredible.
All right, let me talk to you about a sleeping giant. And they play next week. This is a game next week. West Florida at McNeese State. West Florida is located right in the middle of Pensacola.
Okay.
They have already proven that they can play because they won the 1AA championship a few years ago. No,
Division II championship.
They won a Division II championship just a few years ago. Now I think, Mike, they might have already moved up to 1AA. I'm not sure. I think they are.
I was talking to people in Pensacola that live there, and they said they're going to make the jump to 1AA within the next 3 years.
But I want you to watch that program. You think Coastal Carolina was explosive, Mike? This West Florida would give the Pensacola area college Division I or AA college football team.
Somebody made an astute point.
And you better watch it. They'll grow.
In the Athletic, which I read, the Sun Belt is much better than Conference USA. And Conference USA and all these other conferences did these mergers and consolidation. What did the Sun Belt do? They picked teams that already had tradition that were going up from 1AA to Division I. Yeah. Georgia Southern, Appalachian State, Troy, Coastal Carolina. Those programs have all turned out to be outstanding. They had established fan bases and traditions. So isn't it neat that they took another approach? They said, we're going to get the smaller guys that are going up, and that's turned out to be the better approach, I think.
All right, and I'll tell you this, the number one prospect out there that would be a perfect pick for the Sun Belt would be West Florida. West Florida, right there in the middle of that heavily populated area.
If South Alabama wins Conference USA or to the American, because they'll want the Mobile market.
Yeah.
And that would be a spot to bring in a team that's right. I mean, literally an hour away.
Exactly right.
That would make sense.
Looking ahead,
you're right. South Alabama probably would be interested in jumping to one of these perceived bigger leagues. But I don't know if they should do it. You know, don't y'all agree that the Sun Belt has got some really good teams? And
no question they do.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the Sun Belt used to have Florida Atlantic, Florida International. Used to have Middle Tennessee. Used to have Western Kentucky. When you bring in App State and Georgia Southern, and then look at what Georgia State is going to turn into one day. I mean, I think they are better off.
And Coastal Carolina.
Another game.
Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. Another game you can look at a little ahead of the time, before Liberty plays Troy.
Liberty would be another good one to bring into the Sun Belt.
I don't know about that. I think they think they're bigger than that.
Yeah, I think so. You're
Campbell, they play in Campbell at Liberty, and that's the game before Troy. then the big Troy game is on the 10th or the 11th. I can't remember exactly, but it's going to be quite a game.
If Troy could beat Liberty, that would put up, because Liberty has got a high profile all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That would be, Troy would get some attention if they did that.
Well, it's all...
Liberty, though, has got to get in a conference, though. They can't be an independent forever. They're not like a BYU kind of independent. Yeah. They're not like a Notre Dame. You know, they had to do all they can to get people to schedule.
Yeah.
And they beat so many 1A teams last year. I don't know if people are going to want to keep on scheduling.
I know it, exactly. No question about it. Well, I tell you, I think it's been fun to start taking a look at next week, and I thought it was interesting, some of the comments y'all made. Of course, again, Nebraska at Illinois is an early kickoff. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, it's the 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox. But one of those where I'll be interested to see Nebraska's quarterback transferred out.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's a McCaffrey kid.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey's brother.
Where did he go, Mike? Where did McCaffrey go?
Yeah, I think he went to SMU or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, his dad was Ed McCaffrey. Ball player for the Broncos.
Yeah.
So he was a really athletic quarterback. So I don't know who their quarterback's going to be in Nebraska, but be interesting to see some football tomorrow. I'm excited.
All right, well, let me tell you this. The Braves, Mike, and how do they look right now? They've got a game tonight with the Giants.
They got a 4-game lead. You know, they lost 2 in a row to the Yankees. The Yankees have now won 12 in a row.
They won again last night, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, a good chance to see the Braves. A great chance to see the Braves. They play at home against the Giants.
Leading the East. You know, the Phillies are in second, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do down the stretch. I think there's like 45 games left.
If a kid, if a father wanted to take a son to the ball game, do you think it'd be sold out? Do you think they could find tickets?
I think you'd find tickets. Also, you got the PGA playing in the BMW in the FedEx playoffs. John Rahm was 8 under yesterday. Mickelson was 4 under. You got a lot of big names. There's only 70 players left in the FedEx Cup, so that'll be something you can watch this weekend as well.
Just think, after Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Braves played at home, but then they've got a huge road trip, 2, 4, 6, 8 straight games on the road against the Dodgers and the Rockies. So then they finally finish up at the season. I reckon it's the season against the Nationals at home.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves are under, I think, 38 games or so left is what they have.
Well, right here, big rodeo again. Tell us, it starts tonight.
7:30. You can get tickets at Troy Bank and Trust, and then the Rundish Piggly Wiggly, and Don Walker Western Wear. Kids under 12 free.
Yeah, that is
so I'm taking deal. 2, and they get in free.
And I got you an extra if you need it.
And then it's Friday and Saturday night. So, and then tomorrow they have a Western festival for the kids before the rodeo. So, if you get a chance, go support the cattlemen in this great rodeo.
And then, one thing too, they've got at 5 o'clock tomorrow, they've got the kids deal, and that's going to be a big deal. So I tell you what, if you got young kids, shame on you if you don't go to the rodeo.
And the kids will enjoy it.
And it is a great, fun deal for the whole family.
And
I tell you, we love you out there, every one of you. Love you, every one of you. And we hope that you'll continue to watch Today in L.A., and we appreciate you very, very much.
Hey, this is Chip Lindsey, head football coach of your Troy University football team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.